Well, greetings everybody. Let's look at this question that I took directly from MyMathLab about revenue and marginal revenue. So here's the way it works. I'm given a revenue function, and that's intended to be used like this. If I tell you X, the number of units produced, then I do the calculations with the X, 12 times X minus 0.005 X squared, and it gives me the revenue from those units in thousands of dollars. Now that's a little strange. It doesn't give me the straight number. It gives me a number that has to be converted. So for example, if I calculated out of this formula and I got R to be 5, like if I plugged an X in and I got 5 as an answer, then that would mean the revenue is 5 times 1,000. The revenue is in thousands of dollars. So you take that number and multiply it by 1,000 to see what the actual number is. So if R was 5, that would mean the revenue was $5,000. Okay? All right, now part A says find the average rate of change from 1,004 to 1,007. Okay, so here's how I would interpret that. Average rate of change from X equals 1,004 to X equals 1,007. Here's how we do it. We take the revenue at 1,007, subtract the revenue at 1,004, divide by 1,007 minus 1,004. That's how you do it. Any average rate of change will be calculated that way. This right here, 12 times 1,007 minus 0.005 times 1,007 squared, that's the revenue at 1,007 minus, and this minus applies to this entire number, whatever it is, and that's the revenue at 1,004. See, I plugged 1,004 into that same formula. I did some calculations. This is what I got for each of them. Okay, so revenue at 1,007 is about 7,013 minus revenue at 1,004 is about 7,007. Okay, then I'll subtract. Here's what I get from that. And remember the units are a little strange in this. So up there from the subtracted revenues, I get about 5.8. Does that mean the revenue was $5? No, that means the revenue is 5.835 times $1,000. Okay, the revenue is not, what we get out of that revenue function was not going to be a number in dollars. We take that number that we get, we multiply it times $1,000. The reason why that's important and necessary in this problem is because notice the units here. It says give the average rate of change in dollars per unit. If I don't make this conversion right there, I'm not going to get it in dollars per unit. Okay, so all right, I threw that in to adjust the units the way that the question is asking for the answer. Multiply that by $1,000, you'll get 5,835 over 3. That's in dollars per unit. Dollars on top, units on the bottom. That's the way that we wanted it. And if you do dividing there, you'll get $1,945 per unit. Okay, so that gives us our answer in the units that are requested. Let's look at B, marginal revenue. Okay, marginal revenue is the derivative of the revenue function. So if this is the revenue function, I take the derivative of that with the rules that are applicable, and I get this, that's marginal revenue. Now the units for that will be the same as they are for the average rate of change. Okay, this number that I get out of the marginal revenue is going to be in thousands of dollars per unit. So once again, if this number turns out to be 5, it actually means $5,000 per unit. So keep that in mind. Question for part B says, what's the marginal revenue when X is 2,200? So I take 2,200 into the marginal revenue function, and I get negative 10. But does that mean negative 10? Or does that mean negative 10 times $1,000 per unit? It's negative 10 times $1,000 on top, units on the bottom. Okay, multiplying those together, I get negative $10,000 per unit. All right. So that is our answer for B with the units that are required, dollars per unit. Don't forget about the conversion. Don't overlook that the units are given in an unconventional way. Okay, see how I converted. Okay, see how I incorporated the units as they were given in the description to the numbers that I got as I did the calculations. And from there, let me know if there are any questions.